In order for the orchestration to work, we need the Met server in the system. So to save time, I've already pre-installed the Met server, but before that, I'll just brief you how we install the Met server in the system. So what we do is we just navigate to Met server, okay, in this application, Met server application. Windows or Linux system, 32-bit or 64-bit, we need the down file for this Met server. So I've already downloaded that and installed it in my system to save the time, as it's a big file. So once I extracted that zip file, so there is one folder which I got through that zip file, agent, with the name of agent. So I just saved it. So in this first step which we have to do is to install the Met server is go to this config file. I'm opening it with WordPad because I need to edit it as per my instance and Met server details. Okay, so this is an XML file basically. So after downloading the Met server package, the first step of installation is this file, config file. So we need to edit that. So our first name which we have to edit in config file is this parameter name URL. So basically we will give the instance URL name to this parameter, that is my personal instance URL dev35948.servicenow-.com. Okay, next parameter which we need to pass is our Met server username. So I've created one user in the system in ServiceNow with Met server role with the name as test.met.server. So I have given that parameter name here. And the second parameter along with Met server name is password. Okay, so I have already submitted the password and it was secured password. So it got encrypted in the value. So it's not showing up what is the password for this user. Okay, so if you don't want to encrypt it, you just keep this secure as a false. So it won't be encrypted. Okay, the next parameter which we need to pass is our Met server name. What name we want to run the Met server in ServiceNow. So we just give that name, test demo. I have given the test demo. So there are other parameters, optional parameters as well, which we can modify according to our need. For example, threads, RAM, memory. So that can also that other parameters are also there which can be edited according to your need, but I didn't need that, so I just updated these 4 basic parameter which needs to be updated in order to configure a Met server in ServiceNow. Okay, so the once I edited this file, config file, okay, I just go to this batch file, start. Okay, so what we need to do is after the config file is set with the name, password, and the parameters which are required, we just click on this batch file which is start. Okay, so this will start our Met server. So mine was already started, so it is first stopping it and then it again restarted. So at the first time you will not get this because at the first time you are starting the server for the very first time. So I'm getting this first stopping it, then restarting it because it was already started on my server. So this with this step, my laptop, my machine has become a Met server. Okay. So after that, I'll go into the Met server modules of ServiceNow. This servers module under Met server application. So you can see the you can see the name which I have given to the Met server. There is an entry in the server's list, that is Met server list, with the name as test demo which I have given. Okay, so the status is up because we have restarted it. So the first time when you do that, the validated status will be no. So as I have already installed that, so it's a second time for me. So the MIT server is already validated, but otherwise, when you are doing it for the first time, the MIT server needs to be validated. So there is a UI action under here, related link. So you just click on that validate link and the MIT server will be validated. Okay, so in this record our name of the MIT server, status up or down. So if I'll stop the MIT server, the status will be down. Validated, yes. The version is the ServiceNow version. Last refresh, started, stopped, logged in user is the same user which I have given in the config file. And the host name is the IP address of my system, or it can be the name as well, but generally it's IP address. So if it is not defined the host name, and the router, network, all those details have been listed here. Okay, so this is the basic MIT server record which got registered in our ServiceNow system. Okay, so apart from that, there are other related lists which is being used with the MIT server, that is IP ranges, capabilities, and clusters, and threads is also used. So like in large organization, we have multiple MIT servers, right? So and we need to have a load balancer as well. So in that case, what we do is we just create one cluster. Okay, for example, I just go into the cluster, MIT server, and the clusters module. So I go into the clusters, so I'll just give one name to it, and the type is load balance, so that there is no the load is not only on one MIT server. So in that case, what we do is we create two MIT server and we include both MIT server here, include MIT server. So right now only one MIT server is there, so it won't show the second one. So for the load balancing or the clustering thing, we need one more MIT server. So we just so yeah, the capabilities needs to be assigned. Let's view the capabilities, what it's talking about. So we just go to the servers, open our record of MIT server. So in capabilities, we go and we edit capabilities. So capabilities are basically the MIT server, what MIT server can perform. For example, I require PowerShell. As of now, I don't require VMware, SSH, or SOAP REST. So I just add the PowerShell to it. So these are the all available capabilities according to your need. For particular MIT server, you can add it. So I just required the PowerShell, so I added PowerShell only. So this is the cluster thing I've already explained. So in this, there are two type of cluster. One is load balance and another is failover. So in load balance, so as the name suggests, so if there will be two MIT server, then the load will be managed across two MIT servers. And if the type is failover, then once primary MIT server fails, then it will go to the secondary MIT server. So the cluster is used for that purpose and an important part. And the IP ranges are, so whenever the network is very complex and there are many MIT servers or servers in the system, so we use IP ranges. So we just give the IP range to a system here of the IP range of the network. So in that IP range only, the MIT server will work. So it will again used in large organization where the network is very large and the MIT servers are there are many MIT servers. So right now it's just a simple demo, and I just made only one machine, my laptop, as a MIT server. So IP ranges is not needed as of now. So this is all about thread. So let me now just go to the orchestration workflow. So okay, so this is my orchestration workflow, which I've just created. It's a test workflow only. Okay, so first activity is begin and end. It comes with every new workflow. Second is activity is run script. So I've used it to store MIT server hostname in the scratchpad variable so that it can be used in next activity. So the purpose of scratchpad variable in ServiceNow is once you get a value, and you store it into the Scratchpad, it can be used in any activity across the workflow. So thus it doesn't need value to be fetched again and again in all activities. So it is something for which the Scratchpad is used for. So I have created one property, system property in the system, because ServiceNow doesn't recommend hard coding values. So what I've done is I have created one system property in the system. The name is Mit server hostname. So this is a property I have created, and I have given my IP address in the value. Okay, so I'll show you how it will be used later on in the run PowerShell activity. So it just extracted the IP address from this property and stored it in this Scratchpad variable, okay, which I'll be using in the next activity. So this is my run PowerShell activity. Okay, so second. Yeah, so get services of computer. So through this PowerShell activity, what I'm doing is I am fetching the services which are there in the system in this computer. The host name value is being passed here. So in the first activity, I have fetched the value from system property, the IP address of the machine. So the host name should be populated in order to have this workflow run. Otherwise, it won't be populated, because that is the only way where we are calling our Mit server. Okay, so here the Mit server name is not being passed. Here the host name of the Mit server will be passed, or the IP address. So that thing should keep in mind, that we don't pass the Mit server name here, we pass the host name of the Mit server, okay, or the IP address. So I have passed through this Scratchpad variable here. So that's the syntax of calling Scratchpad variable. You just use $, braces, and the Scratchpad variable name, and the braces closed. Okay, and the command is, I have used simple command get service, which is a window command. So I have given the command here, and this is basic demo. Okay, so where we have a like AD scripts where we need to pass the values of users to the AD system in order to create a user in the AD. So there we use the PowerShell script variables. So what we do is we take input from the user through service catalog, and we pass those PowerShell script variables here into the PowerShell script. So this is being used for that purpose. And the script file, so if we don't want to use the command here, what we do is we create a script file. So ServiceNow has given a one table script file. So if you don't wish to use the command, like the script file is very large or something like that, then you can use the script file here. So this, I'll open existing one. So see, this is the Mit server script file with the name, the parent, and the description, and this is the PowerShell script. Okay, so I have used command in this demo, but we can also use this PowerShell script file. I mean, we can create PowerShell script file and can call there. Okay, so like if I wish to do it through a script file, then I won't write command over here, and we just call the script file. So the script file, what actually the second purpose of script file is to eliminate the maintenance. For example, if you want to edit the script file, if you want to edit the PowerShell command, then you have to go into the workflow, check out the workflow, and edit the command from there. So instead of that, you can use the script file. So you just change the script file here, and it will be refreshed in the Mit server. So what this script file will do is, so when we use script file, it creates a copy in the Mit server, a local copy. So in the machine where the Mit server is installed. Okay, now next is the sensor script. So sensor script is basically to read the output or the error. Okay, so what I have done is, so this is the syntax to activity is the object which will read the error or any output. So what I've done is I have fetched the fault description, which is an error, through activity object into this scratchpad variable, that is error message. Okay, and output in this result scratchpad variable, which I'll be using. So sorry. Yeah, so which I'll be using in next activity of the workflow. So this is all about PowerShell. So the PowerShell has two output, that is success. Okay, so do you want me to wrap up? So I'm just almost done. So there are two outputs, success and failure. So if it is success, then it will go into the value of return a value success and will print the scratchpad result. Okay, so I'll just demonstrate it now. Just give me a minute. Take 2 minutes, Richa. So I've created one catalog item and attached this test orchestration workflow into that. So it will be called through a catalog item, and I have ordered it. It's a simple catalog item. I have not created any variables or so. So now what I'll go is go into the all active workflow which are running. Active workflows. So you can see the workflow got into the success and get into the end. So in order to see the result of Scratchpad, we'll just go into the workflow context and we give the related record. Yeah. So this is our workflow active context for our item. So you can see in the Scratchpad result, our services are being fetched. So you can see the Adobe ARM service with the status, if it is running or stopped, Adobe Flash Player update stopped. So with the status, whether the service is running or stopped, the details have been fetched. So this is the output which we have got after the success PowerShell activity. And if there is like any error in the command or the mid server was down, then it will simply go into the failure and will print the failure reason. So that is the basic orchestration demo. Richa. Hello, Richa, are you there?